My husband and I have been married since 2016. But it seems like his mom has had an issue with me since day one. The first thing I really ever noticed was maybe my second time ever interacting with her. I had a bit of a cold. Nothing serious. But she walked all around me spraying Lysol everywhere, telling my husband I better not get sick. It just kind of seemed like off behavior to me, I suppose. It escalated quite a bit within a couple of weeks. She would text my husband, who was 25 at the time, complaining about how he was never home. We were staying at a friend's house because neither of our parents allowed us to spend the night together, which I do understand. She would text him multiple times a day asking where he was and if he'd forgotten where he lived. Fast forward to about 2 months later. We saved up a little money and decided to find a place to rent. When we did, his mom just exploded. Telling him, "Duck her. I don't give a duck just like you." Among other similar things. I was really confused because I'd never done anything to hurt her. My husband ended up ignoring it and I did too. I was in a relationship before my husband and I have a 4-year-old. She would text my husband about how I'm a useless bee because I won't go after him for child support. He does support his son and I don't see it necessary, so we do shared parenting. I continued to ignore it. A few months later, I found out I was pregnant. Surprisingly, she wasn't all that bad through my pregnancy. I really have no complaints. During my pregnancy, we found out my husband had cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. I did my best to care for him. I worked tons of overtime at work so we could afford our place, but it wasn't enough. When my son was born, I couldn't work and neither could my husband. So he suggested moving back in with his parents for a little while. I was kind of unsure about it, but I felt like we didn't have much of a choice, so I went. The first month or so there was okay. But after that, my husband and his mom got in an argument because she made the baby cry. In that argument, my mill told my husband to shut the duck up and he said the same to her. I was just kinda standing there. She ended up ignoring me and my kids for about 3 months. For nothing. I could hear her talking on the phone about me when I was in the bathroom or our bedroom saying, "I want them out of here." And calling me various names. Never to me directly though. I spent my whole day till my husband got home locked in my bedroom with my kids trying not to get in the way. One night, her and my husband got into a fight about it. Like a screaming match. I finally stepped in asking what I ever did to her. She exploded. Telling me that I was ignoring her. Telling me that she would beat me. I told her I would literally just call the police because I'm not going to fight a 65-year-old woman. I'm 23. She blew up about how she's been to jail before and doesn't care. Calling me a wet behind the ears C. It went on for a week or so and then one day she just acted like nothing happened. Like everything was fine. In April, my husband and I decided that we were well off enough to find our own place again. And at the end of April we moved out of his mom's. It was fine up until June. Our refrigerator took a crap and my brother-in-law had one in his mom's garage that he said we could use. As my husband and I were putting the new fridge in, his mom was blowing up his phone calling. He answered and explained that he was busy. She was screaming because she had used paint rollers in the fridge we took, so my husband took them out and put them in her deep freezer thinking that was the most logical thing he could do. She was freaking out about how now she can't use the paint rollers because they'd been frozen. My husband hung up because she was flipping. So then, she texts him. Saying, "So are you going to put the old fridge on the other wall or did the controlling princess tell you not to?" Referring to me. She kept texting calling me a dog-toothed promiscuous woman, my teeth are a bit crooked, telling my husband that I'm cheating on him while he's at work, and again saying that I'm a useless piece of crap because I won't go after my ex for child support. They argued that whole night and finally he just dropped it. She got on Facebook telling me I'm a fat C, and asked me why I'm still breathing. I blocked her on Facebook, blocked her number, and went to the police station. I haven't heard from her since. My mill brother also got on Facebook to call me names and threatened to call my mother's job to try and get her fired. I blocked him on everything too. Just the other day, my brother-in-law texted my husband telling him that I'm a narcissist and how we need to just forgive his mom because that's just the way she is. I blocked him on everything also. Sorry for the long post. I'm just worried about whether or not I'm doing the right thing. I just feel like I shouldn't have to be treated that way and I'm sick of stressing about it. Thanks for reading. My mill and I don't get along whatsoever. In the years my husband and I have been together, she's been a total fake. She's friendly to my face but talks crap behind my back. She blames me for why my husband started smoking Mary Jane, why he quit basketball in high school, why he doesn't call her. Pretty much every decision my husband has made that his mother doesn't agree with is somehow my fault. She secretly hates the fact that I took her baby boy away from her. Newsflash, he was gonna leave home and start a family eventually. My husband and I haven't seen her since we moved out of state 2 years ago and since had a baby. My mother-in-law has a victim complex. She's been emotionally offensive toward my husband and his sister their whole lives. She treats them like crap, calls them horrible names, says they could die and she wouldn't blink an eye, and when they muster up courage to stand up to her, she cries and apologizes. Just to turn around and do the same thing. When I was 6 months pregnant, she messaged me about 10 messages on Facebook completely going off on me and my husband, calling us disgusting names, throwing the N-word at us, saying my husband could get hit by a car again and die and she wouldn't care. He was hit by a car when he was 6 and nearly died. That comment hurt him pretty bad, and when I stood up for my husband, she attacked me. I stood up for myself and told her exactly what I thought of her. I'll post the messages if I can. She said all this because my husband hadn't called her. Phones work two ways, woman. My husband wasn't mad at me for checking her. His sister called and was proud of me. I said to her what everyone around her was too afraid to. We plan on visiting eventually. We're both from California and have pretty much our entire family there. Other than my mother, siblings and aunt that live here with us, my son hasn't met any other family, so we want to visit once he's old enough to let us know he's uncomfortable or wants to leave. Although this trip is planned for the future, I still want to be prepared on how to handle her, not only for my child, but for me and my husband as well. I don't trust this woman at all. I despise her completely and I don't want her to have anything to do with my son. But this is his grandmother and it'd be wrong of me to keep him from her, right? So found out a lot about my mother-in-law from my man last night. Apparently all she talks about is how I'm a terrible mother and I'm either going to take our daughter from them or move in with my guy best friend and abandon her to party all the time. Well, that hurts. She's telling my SO to pretend to like me to get what he wants, then take our baby and drop me. Now that I know that, I've noticed that the only reason she was nice to me recently was so she could have our daughter for the weekend. She was sad and telling me all the things I wanted to hear so I would offer, but turns out it was all fake, but I didn't realize at the time and said yes. So while my daughter was with her, I went to a friend's birthday party. She said I was a crap mom and just getting rid of my baby every weekend to party and that I try to get rid of her as much as I can. She also thought we were going to break up and admitted that she was ecstatic. That also hurts. I have my so full support in whatever I should do. Should I say something or should I drop it? I'm really hurt. I thought she was finally warming up to me. She's my SO mom and I'm trying everything I can to get along with her, but I'm just fed up. My SO said I should stop trying so hard if she's not going to put in any effort. I want to confront her, but I'm not sure what I would say. I kinda want to just be passive aggressive, but that doesn't get anything done. I don't know. What should I do? Update. I've talked to my SO and after reading everyone's responses together, we decide the best thing is for him to talk to her and then for us to approach her together saying she needs to apologize. She's taking a break from our daughter and she's only allowed to see her with one of us there to watch. We're going to tell her that we're a package deal and she's just going to have to accept it. She is hurting her own children by the way she's acting, and that's what's also bothering me. I don't care if she hurts me, I can get over that. But she's hurting her own kids and possibly mine. DH has a 12-year-old sister and she didn't say anything directly to her, but she let her keep thinking that she might not ever see her niece again because of the break. Hi, first time poster in here, so please be nice. My Mill is just a truly awful person, as I'm sure we can all relate to being in this subreddit. She is so self-centered, arrogant and rude. However, she has dropped to a new low today. She has sent my partner a massive text message telling him how he has drifted from the family and how he never makes an effort anymore. This is simply untrue. His mom and dad have been separated for about 5 years plus now, and my partner and his dad have an excellent relationship together. He even came over to see my partner socially distanced outside our door and has been video calling him regularly. His mom hates me and she genuinely thinks it's me that's causing this drift. No, she's not explicitly said it, but every single time he meets up with her she asks how things are with me, if he's happy and if he's okay, which he has told me comes across as if she's checking that I'm not making his life miserable. I know this might all sound like nothing and it probably does, but my partner is very easily guilted and is going to be upset about this all day because the last thing he wants is to come across like he doesn't try. For the record, his family don't try with him. It's not as if they are phoning him and he's not replying. What can I do to support him? I've suggested he phones and has a chat with her explaining that he has been trying, but part of me is like, duck this. He is a grown-up man and doesn't need to explain himself to his mom because other family members don't try. She really laid it on thick with this message. I also just wanted to blow off a bit of steam. Not the craziest mill story, in fact probably quite boring compared to some of the ones I've read in this subreddit before. But I'm just angry and hurt on behalf of my SO.